Look at this destruction on this poor little cedar tree. Look at the carnage. My gosh. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very foggy morning as I'm exploring this very long ridgeline system. It has about 5 or 6 different spurs coming off of it. My plan is to go up and down these spurs looking for some bedding, looking for rubs, scrapes, any deer activity. I'm looking for clusters of sign because that will indicate to me that deer are present there and in numbers. Please come along with me. Let's explore this together. I'm about 3/4 of a mile deep. Just got off the main road and I'm walking here and I'm seeing this well-beaten path. Obviously it's a human trail, and most people would get discouraged by seeing something like this. On the contrary, this is a great sign because it tells me exactly where people go. It tells me exactly where not to hunt, so keep that in mind. I'm passing what I call a dead zone. A dead zone in my mind is basically an area where it's extremely easily accessible area of the forest. You have a beautiful trail going here, and over here it's nice and flat and open, and you can actually see like trails, small trails going into this forest. And this is the dead zone because this is too obvious. People walking here with climbers, with lots of gear. Because it's so obvious and because it is so easy to access, there's 99% chance there are no deer sign there whatsoever. All you're gonna find is people's climbers and people's trash in there. It's so easy to find other people in this forest. Just follow the trails. I mean, look at this huge path going right across this creek up in the field, and over here there's a path that goes right into the forest. What does that tell you? Maybe 2 or 3 guys, or maybe 1 guy, have gone here over and over and over again to the same spot. What are the chances that you're gonna see a good mature deer if you go into the same spot over and over again and expect different results? These deer are smart. They've survived this long for a reason. They're not gonna walk down your path under your stand and under your tree that you've climbed 50 times already. Maybe you get 1 chance at them, but 99% of the time, that ain't gonna happen. Hey guys, so I'm at the base of this hill that I'm about to start climbing on, and right in front of me is a big field, and right off the bat you see these 2 main trails right here deviating, and right behind you it's a giant path, a human path leading into these trails. So it tells me right away that this field and this whole area right here is being heavily hunted. I've seen this scenario tons of times. You see a lot of sign around like main land features like a field or some sort of a clearing, and then you climb the hill and then there's no one, because people don't mind going in the field like this, but people do not want to climb that hill behind me. The point is, I just want to show you that if you see something, like in my experience, when I see something like this, I don't get discouraged. So I'm gonna go and push on and see where I find. All right, I just made it to the top of the hill. The field is right below me. This is like a little spur coming down this way and going all the way to the very top of the hill. So I'm somewhere like 3/4 of the way up, but I'm already seeing sign that deer are here. I did not see any sign in the field except for human sign, but you climb up the hill and I knew there was going to be a sign here, and I would bet that this deer is bedding somewhere along this hill, this ridge line right here, and watching people coming in. And the moment they see somebody coming into that field, they bolt that way. So I'm gonna go that way and I'm gonna follow into the thicket, and I'm gonna see if I can confirm my suspicion that there's even better bedding area over there. So follow me, let's see what we can find. I made it to the very top of the hill, the initial hill next to the field, and despite the thickness here, I don't see too much sign. I do see this old scrape, and there's a pile of deer poo in it. So some deer did walk through here. It doesn't look like anything big, but it tells me that deer do travel through here. So if I do set up here, there's a small potential that I might see deer coming out here. 1.53 miles into this forest, and I'm still finding people's garbage. Almost no deer sign. So odd to me. Usually, I start to find some deer sign right around this marker, like 1.5 miles in. But this tells me that people are penetrating into this forest much further than I thought. So there's probably a road or access of some sort somewhere nearby that I didn't take and someone else knows about. That's the only thing that would explain why this forest looks so desolate when it comes to animal activity. I don't see a lot of squirrels and I don't see a lot of deer sign. I'll keep searching. Well, not even 100 yards further after I said there must be a road there it is. It's actually going right alongside the ridgeline I'm intending to walk. Wasn't on the map, but it's there. However, this road, this is where I came from. This road leads into thicket and dies off. So it's definitely the end of the road there. So whoever comes this way, they come from there, which is interesting because that's the road that leads deep, deep into WMA. So it's a mystery we're gonna try to solve. Meantime, check it out. I'm starting to see sign. There's some more right here. Sign. Not a giant, but it's a sign. I'm moving on the right side of the ridge line, and aside from breathtaking views such as this, I'm not really seeing much activity here at all. I'm seeing rubs here and there. It's pretty thick on the right side of the ridge line. You can see it's just all over ground, so it's not a super open forest. I'm still not seeing the activity that I would like to see that will tell me that there's a lot of deer activity in the area. Sporadic rub lines and rubs and scrapes here and there, just you can find them anywhere. But I'm looking for specific concentration around bedding, and I'm not seeing that yet. So I'm going to keep going, and hopefully it's up ahead. So as soon as I got done complaining about finding these rusty buckets everywhere, I come across this pretty large deer bed. I know this is a buck bed because, for one, it's a single bed located about 3/4 of the way up the hill, facing a downhill slope. Because you can tell by it's a bean shape, his back was toward the hilltop. Behind me, where the hilltop is, it's relatively thick. So he sits here or lays here and he observes everything that's coming from the downhill side. And he can smell everything because he will only bed here when the wind is coming over the hill into his nose. Sitting in this bed, I have to figure out what he can see and what he can't see. So I cannot come behind him, and I cannot come from the bottom of the hill. Fortunately for me, this wind is perfect for my entrance because the entrance in the parking lot is about 2 miles at this point that way. There is a trail that's going up this ridge. So I can sneak up that logging road and I can basically maybe set up somewhere over there on the wind that's going that way. The only thing that I'm hoping is that when he gets up, he goes that way and he doesn't go directly down the hill, which I don't think he does because downhill is a creek and there's a lot of deadfall down there. So like in the natural funnel. So I'm going to go maybe 100 yards that way. I'm going to look for trails, for any rubs, any scrapes, any indication that this deer is moving that way. If it does, that's great. I can set up in the area. Okay guys, so the deer bed that we just found is maybe about 80 yards that way. My access logging road going up here. I will use that logging road, come up here, and I'm gonna go up this tree right here. I have these trees right here that will provide some cover. I would expect the deer to move either from there through here because it's nice and thick, and he will be more comfortable crossing this road if he does from there. I did see some rubs and some tracks, but not, you know, super consistent trails. But I can definitely tell you there's deer crossing this logging road through here to this thicket. He might be one of those deer that does that. But the wind is going to be coming like this, so it's going to be a crosswind. He'll be moving from there, and my scent will be being dumped off this hill into the valley. So that's my plan for this setup. See if it works. Here we are again, different hill, same scenario. The other buck bed is about 300 yards that way up another hill. Now, this one, almost identical setup. 3/4 all the way down over the hilltop and overlooking the hill bottom. Nice and open behind me. They can see everything. They can see everything coming at them from there. Behind me, directly behind me, is a little bit thicker. The wind is coming over this way, only this time the wind is probably coming from the opposite direction. So this very well may be the same buck, only he beds here on the north wind and he beds over there on the south wind. It's going to be a little bit more complicated to set up on this deer. The only way I can approach him is going to be from somewhere in that area, and he'll be able to see me. So I'm gonna have to find a spot where I can set up on them and get them. I found myself a tree. It's going to be this one right here. It has nice cover all around it. It has some rubs coming from there. There's some rubs and trails going that way, so indicating that I know the deer are walking alongside this hill. But my main reason why I'm setting up here is because that other deer bed I found is about 100 yards that way, and it's it's so far up the hill where the deer is not going to be able to see me. I mean, it's winter now and I can barely see it. I still have leaf coverage there, so it's going to be even thicker here during fall. So I should have no problem setting up on this tree and not being detected. There is some evidence of deer travel from the top of the hill all the way to the bottom. So I think I'm in a good path. That deer will be traveling here. So I'm just gonna set up and I'm gonna expect him to come right at me. Maybe not directly at me, but maybe following this spur right here. I should be able to shoot him about 20-25 yards out. All right, so I've made it to my main target for this hike. Is this thick area right here. And it goes that way for, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 mile. My intention is basically to follow this line, find any major trails coming out of this bedding, and go inside and investigate, find some beds, follow the beds out, and find a good setup. Okay, so I found the spur, and I'm coming out of this bedding area. I'm seeing some activity here on the ground. Deer are definitely walking through here, but I don't see anything major. So this is definitely not like a giant buck bedding area, more like just a general transition zone. But it's still not a bad idea to set up on something like this. Very small bucks making these rubs. But I'm thinking it's like a nice little saddle, and then I access from way over there. So on the right wind, I can technically come up there, set up maybe 80 or 90 or maybe even a little bit less. some distance, maybe on that tree right there. I can set that up, and basically anything that comes out from here will be walking right under me, technically. So, if I want to hunt for meat, this will be a great place to do it. I don't see a lot of sign here, but based on all the features I'm seeing, it should hold deer. I think I found myself a spot. Bedding is about 30 or 40 yards that way, but I already walked in there. I know there are nothing beds directly on the edge. There are some trails coming out. My goal is basically to set up somewhere behind me, somewhere there. I'm thinking I'll set up on this tree right here, provide me perfect cover on this side, and on this side I have a deadfall, which will act as a natural funnel. So the deer will be coming either underneath me or on my left, which is my strong side to shoot on anyway. So this should work out okay. So I'm walking on the left side of the ridge now. I'm working my way back to where I started, and I'm walking on this very wide spur, and it's pretty desolate, you guys. I did bump one doe. She wasn't even like bolting. Obviously, it's not hunting season now, so they're not too scared of humans. There are some deer here, but I don't see any sign of like large deer. I don't see what would hold the deer here. They might be coming this way from the bedding that we just left, but that's like hundreds of yards away at this point, and there's no sense of setting up here. They might not make it here during daylight shooting hours, and they have to cross the logging road. There's some human presence on that road, so I don't know if they're going to do it in season with people hunting here. I found this really cool old tree stand. This one is made out of aluminum, some sort. Old, it's been here forever. Oh, look at that metal. The tree just growing around the metal studs. That's crazy. Not even 50 yards after I made that recording about the tree stand, this is where I come across. I mean, this is a giant climber. I mean, definitely very well used, but look at this interesting fact. Look at this tree, and look at the marks on this tree. Look how many times this person climbed up this tree. That's interesting. The marks actually stop at 7 feet. So this person never climbed high. Just goes to show you, people come back to the same spot in this dead zone over and over and over again, and they climb the same tree. And that's why you don't see any sign. That's why deer leave this place. You have to be mobile in public land. You cannot just keep coming back to the same tree. The mature deer are very smart. They will pattern you. They will smell this tree stand. They will walk around you where you can't see them. Judging by what I'm seeing so far, this guy's been climbing up and down this tree so many times that the deer just simply left this area. Now it's going to take a long time for them to come back. So far, I've walked for maybe a couple hundred yards already, or maybe 300 yards since I saw that climber. This area is dead. I don't see a single rub, single scrape. The area has been hunted so much that even after the season has ended, the deer are just too scared to come back here. Just maybe a quarter of a mile that way across the logging road where it's thicker and where it's a little bit more difficult to access because it's like a hill that you have to climb. A lot more sign there. And it's nice and flat here. And there's nothing. So after about walking maybe for 400 yards away from the stand and into the thicket and a little bit less accessible area, I'm starting to see a rub. I'm starting to see some disturbed ground here and there. I'm also seeing a doe bedding spot. There's like a bed right here, like a nice little matted down place right here. They basically bedded in a circle. It only looks like they only bedded here like once or twice. The further away I get from that stand, the more activity I'm starting to see again. That guy needs to get up, get down from his tree and move around a little bit. That way he can get on these deer. All right, you guys. I'm making my way back toward where I came from. I'm on the left side of the ridge line. I'm parallel now to where we found the login road, where it started on top of the hill and it was starting to run that way. So I'm just on this side of the hill. And I came across something super interesting. I've never seen this before. It's basically an area where everything is rubbed or snipped off. I mean, look at this. You have old rubs, and like almost every tree here is rubbed. Just, I mean, rubs. I mean, look at this. And it just goes on like this. And at first I thought it was, hey, maybe this was just a rub line. But this deer just went nuts. You're just rubbing everything. I mean, there are rubs there. I mean, and they're different ages too. They're not all fresh. Oh, here comes a cedar. You know, deer love rubbing cedar trees. I mean, that cedar is definitely gonna die. This one is dying. Man, this one had it too. That's one pissed off deer. I've never seen like this, anything like this before. Like maybe in a row, yeah, but something just, the whole area I'm talking about, and it just goes on. What is going on here? Just every little tree that deer could find, he got rubbed. I mean, tiny little things. Aw, tiny little cedar trees, just destroyed. And it just goes on like this. This is like a massive rub line. And it happens over and over again throughout the years because they're just different age rubs. That's very cool. I've never seen anything like this before. If any of you guys notice or know what the heck this is all about, let me know. Is this where deer like fight? It doesn't look too thick for bedding, and it's really just kind of almost in the bottom of this hill over here, so I don't see any beds. I would love to hear from you guys what y'all think what this could be. I'm perplexed. The rub line I was just talking about runs this way, and it goes into those woods for another 100 yards. All those trees just rubbed. Everywhere is rubbed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up on this tree right here. Go up there, maybe to that area right here. That way I have some nice background cover. Behind me is my access. And basically I will climb up the hill, follow the ridge line all the way until I find where that logging road started. I'll hang a left and I'll come down here directly to this tree. I'm following the rub line. And look at this destruction on this poor little cedar tree. Look at the carnage. My gosh. The rub line just stops at that giant cedar tree. And after that, it's just, you can't see anything. I followed what I think could be a potential spot that they might be coming from, but there's nothing here. So it starts at that giant cedar tree, goes for about 100 yards past cedar tree, and then it stops again. I mean, is cedar tree acting like a catnip for them or something? One of them rubs it and they just all go insane? All right, you guys, I'm at the end of my little excursion. Overall, I found a few hunting spots. I found some human activity. I found some tree stands, a lot of trash. So it's not the perfect location for all these hunting setups, but nonetheless, we're able to pull what, 2 or 3 hunting spots. So right now I'm right back at the hill bottom, maybe 100 yards away from that field where we started. I hope you guys enjoyed following me along. I hope you learned something. I know I learned a lot of stuff. And if you guys want to see more of this, subscribe, like, and comment below. Thank you.